Mhm. Let's see. There we go. Shows we are now on YouTube. Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. I'm so glad you could attend. Step inside, step inside. Yeah, it's a dynamo. You need to see the show. Weird, weirder, weirdest. It's kind of weekend it has been in politics, and we are going to wrap it up. Um, as far as what's happened this weekend. And let's just jump right into it. Got some serious stuff right off the bat. Um, we go to Venezuela. Venezuelan elections going on today. Nicolas Maduro, the person about to get overwhelmingly voted out, um, has now activated the Venezuelan military to block people from voting because the turnout for the opposition is indeed historic. We'll talk more about this coming up, but I hope we don't see this. And I've heard rumors of this, rumors of armed MAGA, if you will, at the polls to keep certain demographics from voting. Um, I certainly hope we do not come to that here in this country. It's currently going on in Venezuela. And as I said, we'll talk more about that coming up. To our own elections here now in the United States, the villages in Florida. I mentioned the villages the other day that there was a Biden flag up in the villages, and how incredibly odd that was that would be happening because it is a Trump hotbed. It's Trump's favorite place to campaign, and had I not seen this, I would have thought it would be fabricated. I know some people that live in the villages. Um, they were at this. They were at this event. They all drive golf carts. In the villages is a community in Central Florida where you have to be 55 or older to live there. Um, and it says up here, it says the village is notoriously Republican community in Florida, but right now Democrats are coming out in droves for Kamala Harris. No, this should scare Trump. This should concern Trump. These because these are not Democrats coming out for Kamala Harris. These are Republicans coming out for Kamala Harris, and it's getting the Democratic Party excited. They're talking about flipping Florida, yada yada. I wouldn't go as far to say that's anywhere near flipping Florida. Um, However, if this is indicative of what's going on in the rest of the state, um, it will put Florida in play. That means within margin of error, and it would also possibly get Florida a Senate seat, Democrats a Senate seat in Florida. If this is indeed playing out, the Harris campaign through surrogates, through guest speakers, through celebrity endorsements, through a number of events, put on 2,600 campaign events this weekend all around the country, in person events such as the one you're seeing here in the villages. This is one of those 2,600 events. Um, so the ground game is working. I mean, as far as the ground game is functioning, whether it's working as far as generating um, interest, we shall yet to see. All right, as I said, Maduro's panicking over losing the elections. He had ordered motorcycle gangs out on the streets of Caracas. This was to harass those that were trying to keep the integrity of the election as well as um, count the votes. So chaos potentially erupting tonight in Caracas, Venezuela, and I hope it is a wake up to, again, we do not want this here. We don't want this here. This we want an election and a peaceful transfer of the office, um, and not a permanent transfer either. I'll get to more on that coming up. Thank you for clicking on. If you're watching, greatly appreciate it. Whether you're watching here live or you're watching at your leisure, thank you for doing so. Hit the like button if you would, and we got to have a little levity every now and then. We deal with a lot of really serious stuff, so I couldn't help it. This is to me is okay. I can't play the music because of copyright, but they put this costume, the Chucky costume, on this husky puppy, and he uses the little knife and he stabs the cat with it. It's a plastic knife. He's not really stabbing the cat, and I'm sure when the cat gets fed up, the cat will lace one on him. But anyway, I thought that was amusing. I hope you did too. And that's one of our lighthearted breaks that we take throughout this show. This was originally how the show was supposed to start about an hour ago before all that other stuff popped up on my timeline. Jack Posobiec, one of the leaders of the CPAC, that's the Christian Political Action Committee, also heavily involved in the Heritage Foundation. This past February, just a few months back, at their gathering, said, "Welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get it all the way done, all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it." They want to get rid of democracy. To me, that's treasonous. I don't know how you feel, but I view that as treasonous. And um, somebody asked me, "Yeah, well, what are you going to do about it?" I'm thinking on it. I really am. Okay, in case you doubt, here he is. Here's Jack.
All right, welcome. I just wanted to say, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
The white power sign, in case you didn't notice, he held up the white power sign. Steve Bannon, by the way, over here, he's in prison right now. He'll get out soon, but I think we ought to be at least thinking about what these people have been saying and are saying now. I played on here the other day. Trump said on Fox and Friends, "We don't need votes. We've got more than enough votes. We're not worried about votes." And I said that was the most asinine thing a politician had ever said. And somebody pointed out to me, unless they're going to steal it. And we'll talk about that coming up in just a couple of minutes. But first, we need to hear from Trump's older sister, former federal judge Mary Trump Barry. And well, here's what his sister says about the Don Old.
Goddamn tweet and the lie. Oh my God.
The president's sister, retired federal judge Marianne Trump Barry, was recorded by her niece Mary slamming her famous brother.
Change of stories, a lack of preparation, the lying, the holy shit. All he wants to do is appeal to his base. He has no principles. None. Donald's out for Donald. Period.
Okay. That's, again, Donald Trump's older sister, retired judge. A lot of his family doesn't have many nice things to say about him. A lot of the people that were in his first administration don't have nice things to say about him, including my old friend Mike Pence. Just something to think about. The people that seem to know him best uh, are either trying to get in his pocket or are trying to stay so far away from him that um, the distance could never be enough. Um, Thursday night, the last time I was on here, I said, bold prediction, by this coming Friday, Donald Trump will be trying to, the process will be, the process will be ongoing, that they will be trying to remove JD Vance from the ticket. Um, Chuck Schumer told Newsweek 6 hours ago that Trump may try to replace him within 10 days. I don't think they'll wait that long. They'll want to do it before the Democratic convention, um, because Trump probably thinks, Don Old probably thinks he can just say, get him off the ticket, and that's all there is to it. It may be that that's all there is to it. Because he's Trump, and because they'll do whatever they have to do to make sure it happens legally, as far as how precedent have been set before, which is going to keep you from getting lawsuits. The Republican national delegates would have to reconvene, probably electronically, and vote to remove him, then put someone else on. A lot of hassle to do it the right way. And the reason I think it will happen by Friday is because the ballots haven't been printed yet for the general election, the national election. The ballots haven't been printed yet. They can't be printed until after the Democratic convention, when you know who the Democratic vice presidential candidate is, and when you have the official Democratic or the Democratic presidential candidate, um, not the presumptive. And it's looking more and more like that is indeed going to be the case. But with Democrats, you can never be sure until it's actually done. Um, so, with all that being said, that's why I think they will move quickly to remove him if they do so, because it's going to be much harder after the Democrat convention and the ballots actually do start being counted. The Republican committee has officially turned in the nomination and it has been certified. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm sticking by my thing. I'm telling you, by Friday, the process will be underway. We'll see. All right. The Olympics are going on. I was driving around and I saw this guy. Um, and I thought, you know what? I need a drink. And this would be a good spot for a drink. And this guy's just, you know, I can't play the music, but it's the Rocky theme that he's performing to. And the dismount. Here we go. He stuck it. He stuck it, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. The Olympics are going on. That's a little funny thing, obviously, or at least in an attempt. I don't know whether you thought it was funny or not, but um, there's some things. There are some things about the Olympics I got to talk about, because tonight is weird, weirder and weirdest. Um, some Christians, it seem, are upset that the Last Supper painting by Da Vinci was mocked in the opening ceremonies. Um, it was not the Last Supper painting by Da Vinci is in Italy, not in France. It's in Italy, and um, that wasn't the Last Supper. That was the feast of Bacchus, the um, the god of festivities and wine and revelry and blue guy. All right, um, and the people sitting, the people that the angle made it look like they were sitting at a table. They weren't. They were sitting at a runway. It was to represent French fashion show, and and now it seems like nobody in the MAGA movement is going to go to France. They're not even going to get a passport, let alone go to France. And we'll probably be here in freedom fries, um, resurrected for those that, if you know, you know. Speaking of weird, evidently people are saying that Donald J. Trump, Donald J. Trump, is weird. Um, they're weird. People are saying it. So much so that he had to tweet, I'm not weird. Um, hmm. You would think you wouldn't have to say that if you weren't, but I don't know. It's a crazy weekend. It seriously is. This this I want you to see. All right, this is from Fox. It is the 2024 favorability rating. Okay, we've got a storm happening here. Favorability rating. Now, this has a um, community tag on it. Readers added context. Thought people might want to know. All right. The above screenshot of the rating is fake and digitally altered. Here's the official link to the poll. All right. Here's the link. I want to show you. We're going to do this live. Here's the link. Now, the link is for the presidential election. All right. This is actually who we vote for. The the link in question is favorabilities. There's a major difference between who you're going to vote for and your opinion on them people. And most of the time you don't vote for somebody you don't like. So you'll hear a lot of right wing um, journalists say, don't know why, but people just don't like Kamala Harris. And in the meantime, it's showing very differently. Favorability is 49 to 47.
I think that
Wait a
what
minute,
this
wait a minute,
polling
wait a
should
minute, wait a
signify
minute.
is that these young
Hold
voters just wanted
on.
somebody else.
Harris is consolidating support. She's surging a little bit
Okay,
ahead
this is
with
what Fox
independents.
is saying.
She's definitely up on this sugar high.
There's no doubt that the polling has gotten better, but it's still the same country. This kind of giddy elation is not going to be very helpful much longer.
We've seen the momentum
I
close.
totally agree with James Carville, unfortunately, but so now this is what we're actually talking about. The favorability rating 49 47, 49 46, 51 43, 57 47. These numbers are huge down here. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to vote for her. Let me go back to that poll if I can, or that. No, all right, never mind. I closed the Fox page. I don't like to keep those open. Anyway, I've got another example from Wall Street Journal that shows what's going on in these swing states. But the race is definitely tightening. This is not anywhere near the numbers that were here when it was Biden against Trump. And not much has changed with Trump, except it's JD Vance out there talking for him now, and they call Trump weird, and the things about JD Vance just get weirder. Um, I'm going to take a small pause here and get another drink. And Chelsea Handler, a comedian, is going to give you about a minute 25 of her opinion of JD Vance. And I hope I get the volume. There we go.
As you might have heard, Donald Trump's running mate and future star of his own Dateline episode, JD Vance, is ruffling quite a few feathers this week.
We're effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies who look at Kamala Harris. The entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Listen up, you wingnut elegy. This country is still controlled by men in systems that were set up by men that are carefully crafted to continue to benefit men. So to put it in women-hating terms, you'll understand you're being hysterical. But let's be clear, there's no correlation between childless people and the presidency. For example, our very first United States president, Mr. George Washington, didn't have children. In fact, he had 2 stepchildren. That's right, just like someone else I know. And to your point about Kamala not being fit because she's not a mother, I'd like to remind you that no president in the history of the United States has ever been a mother. But maybe if she had 5 kids with 3 different men and a scandalous affair with a porn star and was convicted felon, that would be more palatable to Republican men. I mean, my God, are we tired? You sad, diet, Mountain Dew drinking, couch humping, dolphin porn aficionado, all of us childless cat and dog ladies are going to go from childless and crushing it to childless and crushing you in November. And before you tell me he didn't really fuck a couch, spare me. I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s where everyone had a couch in their basement, and I know a couch fucker when I see one.
I'm sorry, allegedly. That's not going away. That's not going away. Just like, you know, I can see Russia from my house for Sarah Palin. That line sunk. It sunk the McCain campaign. I'm going to put Social Security in a lockbox, Al Gore said, and that line somehow got around his neck. Putting security in a lockbox became something detrimental somehow, and was spun in a way that pretty much killed Al Gore. And of course George Bush in the Supreme Court, and little nefarious actions going on by Republicans. There's precedent, and if you don't know your history, I'm not saying that to make you mad. I'm saying that because there's precedent in what Republicans have done before. And hanging chads. All I'm going to say is hanging chads. All right. Some questions about the shooting shooting at Donald Trump. How does a 20-year-old nerdy kid have 3 encrypted overseas bank accounts? Who was sending him money overseas? Who bought him a drone? Who bought him a rangefinder scope? Who bought him a van and explosives? These things aren't cheap. The kid was making about $20 an hour, I think. So, you know, if he's living at home and he doesn't have a girl to spend money on or whatever, you know, you can, I mean, what kind of van are we talking about? You can get a van for probably $2,500, $3,500 if you're just going to fill it with explosives and use it as a diversion. But nonetheless, a lot of questions about this kid and about his parents and about involvement with the 2025 project. What am I talking about? I'll get there in just a second. I got to play this. This is Trump, and he's bragging about how big a criminal he is. And if that's not what he's doing, tell me in the comments what you think he's doing, because I don't hear anything or see anything other than he's bragging about what a big criminal he is.
I got indicted more than Al Capone. You know, he was the meanest, most vicious guy. Scarface. Many movies made about Alphonse. He's a fine gentleman. If he didn't like you at a dinner, you were automatically dead before you got home to your lovely wife and family. What happened to Dad? Well, he had dinner with Al Capone. Never made it back. He was in the foundation of a building down the road. I got indicted more than him for what? Saying the election was crooked. The election was crooked. What a disgrace. You know what? And it works both ways. I mean, they're setting a terrible precedent. This has never happened before. Never, ever. It's never happened before.
Yeah, it's never happened before, because no one's ever done the things you're alleged until proven guilty by a court of law to have done. Trouble in MAGA world. I wanted to play that clip where he's kind of bragging about how he and Alphonse Capone, great gentleman, according to him, according to Trump. Al Capone's a great gentleman, and so is Hannibal Lecter, evidently. This is Ann Coulter. Ann is a incredibly well-known far right wing on her positions, and well, let's just listen to what she says. Now, you might recognize this guy because he often stands in front of Anarchy Princess when she's holding signs. Those that know who Anarchy Princess is, she'll hold signs up, and this guy just somehow ends up standing in front of her signs time after time after time. This is Peter Navarro. He was on with Dan Abrams, and Dan Abrams interviewed Peter Navarro, and he requested that Ann Coulter sit next to him during the interview so he could see her reaction. And here's a reaction.
Ann Coulter's here. I forced her to sit here and listen to the entirety of the interview. Usually we would keep Ann in the green room, but I said, Ann, I want you to sit and listen. Thoughts?
So wish you hadn't done that. I was fully prepared to defend him and make a much better argument than he just made. But now I wish they'd kept him in prison for 4 years instead of 4 months. This is why Republicans lose. I had no idea how profoundly stupid he is. He started with it, so I'll start with it. And Republicans who think it's a good idea to brag about how we're really soft on crime. Trump let prisoners out of prison. We passed the First Step Act. What has been the most winning issue for Republicans for the past 50 years being tough on crime, Dan Abrams?
And you know, a lot of people are questioning how you can be tough on crime and have the people you have at the top of your ticket. Bad to worse. Daily Beast reporting longtime trans friend of J.D. Vance, Sophia Nelson, has released a trove of emails and texts from Vance in which inter alia Vance trashed Donald Trump and Anton Scalia, said he hated cops, as I mentioned, Law and Order Party, the two people you got at the top. And said his wife, Usha, had no, quote, ideological chops, end quote. That's not the only thing he said about his wife. I've got some more of that. And Midas Touch found this, J.D. Vance, from his Twitter account. Remember when we learned that our wealthiest and most powerful people were connected to a guy who ran a literal child sex trafficking ring? And then that guy died mysteriously in a jail, and now we just don't talk about it. And of course, referencing, again, I'm telling you, Friday of this coming week, by Friday, the process will be underway. And wait until we talk about monkey testicles. Okay, weirder. And then there's more. There's more. There is more. All right. These are the net favorable polls. This is from, I think this is from ISIP. Let me check because I don't want to give the wrong information out. Yes. From July 27th, 1,200 people surveyed. Previous poll. Now, let me tell you something about the surveys here real quick. I'm not going to take a long time. Sometimes when you're surveying and you know you're going to be surveying repeatedly, you will have a group that you ask each and every time. I don't know if this is how they do this. I don't know if these are computer randomly generated. Sometimes you get like a group, especially undecided voters or swing voters, as those that always vote in primaries but don't always vote for the same parties, because things change in parties. Anyway, the sometimes you'll get a number and you'll call them each month, which is much more reliable because you're getting a subsection's opinions as they change instead of just a general random generated opinion. And I'm not sure which way this is done, but this is pretty big. Previous poll on July 20th, Harris was -11, net favorable. So people did not like her at the same level they did not like Trump. Both of them were at -11. Current poll, Harris has jumped up to a +1. That's a 10-point jump in a poll. Trump has gone down from 11 to 16. That's a 5-point loss. And so you've got a 15-point gain. You got a 15-point net, and that's without spending a lot of money advertising. That's with everything happening, and the only thing really changing is JD Vance, the JD Vance impact. How big is 15 points? For those that don't know, I ran for office, and I ran against Mike Pence. I ran for Congress against Mike Pence when he was in Congress, and I gained 6 points in a 3-day period. It's incredibly hard to gain percentage points in an election. And just let me show you what had to happen for me to gain 6 points. And this is from Politico. This is from April the 9th, 2008. According to Star Press of Muncie, fisticuffs broke out at a contentious Delaware County Election Board meeting. Will Statham, the GOP registration deputy and secretary of the local Republican Party, attacked Muncie Star Press reporter Nick Werner while Werner was interviewing Ball State University student Joanna Perez about hundreds of last-minute voter registrations for Democrats' Barack Obama's campaign. He did not seem very happy that we were stating our opinions, Perez said about Statham. Werner said Statham seemed critical of his reporting, sarcastically saying to make sure he screwed up the story again. Statham just walked past Werner, then Statham turned around, pushed Werner against the wall, grabbed him, and they fell to the ground, according to witnesses. But it gets better. Barry A. Welsh, moi, Democratic 6th District congressional candidate who attended the meeting, stepped in, and Statham turned around and hit me in the eye. The newspaper reported. When Nick went to the floor, I tried to break it up, I said. and for that, Statham allegedly clobbered him. The cops then broke up the fight. Statham was later booked on battery charges, according to Star Press, and I went on to pick up 6 percentage points and unearned media. That means I didn't pay for any of the exposure I got from that, but I got about $100,000 worth of unearned media all around the world. I was in the newspapers in Madagascar and all kinds of bizarre stuff over this. Now, let me tell you what really happened. Okay. Nick was interviewing the little girl from Ball State, and there had been complaints about they wouldn't be able to, all the extra registrations that were coming in, they wouldn't be able to get them filed, blah blah blah, and that's what Statham was there for. And he did. I was listening to everything that this little girl was telling Nick, because Obama's votes were going to be my votes too, allegedly. So everything that was happening was critical to my campaign as a down ballot candidate. And Statham walked through. He's probably, I don't know, 6'2" or so. And he walked past and he just turned around and he just slammed the reporter against the wall. And as Nick bounced off the wall, he came behind him and he got him in a rear naked choke and took him down to the floor. And I'm in a dress suit, shirt and tie. You know, I'd given a speech earlier. And I saw this and I jumped in. And he had his arm like this. I put my right arm underneath Statham's right arm and between Nick's neck, and popped Statham's arm off. And when I popped his arm off, his elbow came back and hit me in the eye. So there were pictures of me with this black eye, and I'd been attacked by the Democratic treasurer of the Delaware County Party in Indiana. And that's one way of getting 6 percentage points in a congressional race. To get the points nationally, J.D. Vance would be my recommendation if you were running for president. Get him to be in opposition to you and fight as far as in court. Fight in court to keep J.D. Vance on the ticket. That's all I'm saying. That would be my recommendation to any higher ups in the Democratic Party if I had any sway with anything like that. So on to the next story. And again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for hanging in. This is from the Associated Press. This is as close as we've seen to the ear. And there is a small little, it looks almost like you would take a end of a razor blade in championship wrestling and make a little nick so that some blood would come out. That's what it looks like. Could shrapnel have caused that? Yes, I'd say probably so. Could a bullet have done that? I honestly don't think so. After all the ballistic tests I've seen, if a bullet would have hit him, he would have had a concussion. He would have had temporary hearing loss, and it would probably broken his neck, according to the ballistic stuff I've seen. I'm not a ballistics expert, but it sure does not look like it was. It sure doesn't look like it was such a wound as to have it be portrayed as he portrayed it. And to me, that just says something about him, because the guy got shot at. That's bad. That's bad. He got shot at. And apparently some shrapnel bounced off of one of the railings. who knows where it bounced off of? Somewhere close. They'll figure it out eventually. And it clipped him. And instead of that being enough, he had to be Donald Trump and blow it up into something it wasn't. And now the cover up is going to end up being a bigger story than the fact that he got shot at, because he got absolutely no bounce at all in the polls. None. Ronald Reagan, he got a 20-point bounce. I got hit in the eye, I got 6. Reagan got shot in the chest, he got 20. Trump, that didn't get any. They're not playing it well. Maybe they don't have to. Maybe they don't have to. We'll talk about that coming up here right now. The Heritage Foundation is doing what? I'm just going to, it's not going to let me highlight it. All right. The Oversight Project, which is part of the Heritage Foundation, part of the powerful right-wing think tank, the Heritage Foundation, claimed this week that it used mobile ad data from cell phones to track the movement of Thomas Crooks in the year leading up to his attempted assassination on former President Trump at a Pennsylvania rally earlier this month. If this is indeed true, then someone staged an assassination attempt and people died over somebody trying to get elected, whose sister said basically he's a piece of crap, that it's only about Donald. And we've seen I really clip this part. If you know somebody that's MAGA that you just can't get through to them, maybe clip this part and send it to them. There's a difference between loving your country and loving Trump. And the border should have been closed earlier than it was. And it could have been. We've all seen the videos of Republican after Republican saying Trump told us not to do it because he wanted to run on it. It'd be better for him. That right there, that small fact should register that he makes choices based on what's best for him, not what's best for the country. And I think many of you that claim patriot, I think you believe you got a patriotic spirit, but it's misdirected in my opinion. And take a look in the mirror and take a look at some of this stuff, and maybe you'll see the same thing. Maybe not, probably not, but I'm going to keep on trying, because there's too many other things that potentially endanger our country. Okay, this is the Wall Street Journal poll. This is as far as voters, not whether you like them or not favorability. Actually, when it comes down to voting nationally, Harris leads by 1 percentage point. There will probably be a bump for Harris coming when she selects a VP. There will be a bump for Harris coming when the convention happens. And we'll see how big the lead is by then when those polls start to come out. But the longer J.D. Vance is around, the worse it's going to get for that ticket. Again, maybe they don't care, because I know how easy it would be for them to simply be very nefarious and put Trump into the presidency. I'm going to explain it to you coming up here at the end. Stick around. Dave Portnoy, another conservative like Ann Coulter, who really is questioning J.D. Vance. This time it's because Vance has said that if you don't have kids, you shouldn't have as big a voice in the government as people with children, and people with children. If it's a family of four, then that family should get 4 votes, and until the kids are 18 and can vote on their own, the father controls everybody's votes. Um, it sounds to me like Little House on the Prairie era thinking, but it's not for me to tell you what to think or how to think. All we do is just give you things to think about. Israeli Air Force started bombing Lebanon last night, and probably in the next episode, we'll be talking about upcoming Israeli land invasion and a full-scale war between Israel and Lebanon. All flights have been either canceled or rescheduled out of Beirut International Airport. During an interview with Sirius host Megyn Kelly, J.D. Vance discussed his wife, and he said, obviously she's not a white person, but I love her and she's such a good mom. White supremacy. I don't know. I maybe he says these things so he has to sleep on the couch. I'm sorry, that just came to me, and I thought. Sorry, sometimes I crack myself up. He says this stupid stuff, so he has to sleep on the couch. Says stupid stuff about his wife. Pardon me. In the meantime, J.D. Vance defends Marjorie Taylor Greene, promoting QAnon, 9/11 conspiracy theories, and Jewish space lasers, saying, quote, believing crazy things is not the mark of whether somebody should be rejected. Personally, I think it's the exact mark that we should never even get close to. As far as people like that being in office, they should be rejected well before we ever get to the mark of they're they're on a ballot or they're in office. And if you don't believe me, here's what he says. His own donors are asking him to denounce her. I don't know if they caught that part or not, but it's what he said. I'm often asked by donors in Ohio if I'll denounce her. I think it's the exact mark, personally, that should never be crossed. But, that's just my thinking. And again, here's a different AP photo. Now, the guy that took these photos, his page on Twitter has been removed. And this is a well-known photographer he was the White House photographer, actually, for 2 or 3 different presidents, and traveling with the press corps for the Associated Press, used his Zoom. And again, it looks like there, from this angle, if you zoom in on this one, it just looks like there's just a little slit, just like a little razor cut, just a little slit. Bigger than a paper cut, but not a AR-15 round wound, in my opinion. Ed Christensen's been trying to tell Christians for years that Donald Trump is not genuinely a Christian. Donald Trump's actions have shown people that he's not a Christian. Okay. But anyway, last night, he said the quiet part out loud. Again, I don't know if they just don't care, I don't know if they can't control him and he can't control himself. It looks like he's reading it. So I don't know. I got another cut of that coming up here in just a couple of moments that is not slowed down, and you get the full context of what he's saying. And it should be troubling for anyone that cares about democracy. Hold on a second. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. No sound on the video. I've been on the share thing too long. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Greatly appreciate you tuning in. Hit that like button if you would. And we'll see if we can get back to where we were as far as on the screen. Let me see. Are we back up? Okay. Here we go. I hope the volume comes out this time. And I hope this is the only video I missed.
Christians, I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian.
I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian.
Christians, I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian.
I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian.
Okay, so again, I've got a little longer clip, so you know what he says before and after that. I'm hoping this is getting. Let me see. It looks like it's getting shared. Hang on. Awesome. Thank you very nicely for telling me that. It is working. All right. I said it gets weirder with JD Vance. Now, today, after the couch thing, after the dolphin thing, by the way, the dolphin thing was he left his web search open while doing a live video, and they zoomed in on his web search, and he was searching for dolphins having sex with women. The couch thing, of course, we have it's grown legs, and even some Trump people are starting to make fun of that because it's just not going away. And if that's not enough, JD Vance has a burnt monkey testicle problem. Yes, that's right. The GOP Ohio Senate's nominee is a large investor in a biotech firm that does testing on live animals and is raising questions about his true values. So on top of everything else, on top of insulting his wife and saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene being insane is okay, the couch thing, the dolphin thing, the cat lady thing. Now we got monkey testicles, burnt monkey testicle problems. Again, testing on live animals, and I don't want to think what they're doing to the monkeys. This was Friday's presidential polling among suburban women, and this is where Harris kills Trump. 12 percentage points over Trump, and again, the last poll against Biden at the end of last month, Trump 41, Biden 44. Trump's lost a point here, and only 85% because there were so many undecideds. Now we got 92% responding. That's a big thing to look at. All right, only 85%, now 92%. 7% of the undecideds are coming to Harris. That's a momentum tell, and remember I told you guys, I told you that in politics you assume the position, and that's what she was doing. There was a vacancy, and she was assuming the position until somebody tells her she doesn't have it. And I told you she's doing a really good job at it, and she took it all the way to the Obamas saying they endorse her. Now you can take endorsements back, but at the moment, and I don't think there's going to be any takebacks. No takebacks. Okay, again, Donald Trump. I'm not a Christian. This is. I'll be really interesting. It'll be really interesting to hear how this is defended on two fronts. The first front is he's telling Christians that you got to get out and vote. You got to get out and vote this time. And if you vote this time, you'll never have to vote again. The fix will be in, and you'll never have to vote again. And in the meantime, he says, I'm not a Christian. I love you, Christians. I love you, Christians, but I'm not a Christian.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years. You know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote. And again, Christians.
You take that and you combine it with this. I hope I'm using the right one. Kevin Roberts. Let me know if the volume doesn't work on this one. Okay, Trump's telling people you don't have to vote again. If you get out and vote, you don't have to vote again. This is Kevin Roberts, the director of, the leader of Project 2025.
I told you I would tell you why it's bad, maybe add a little bit of color, but also tell you why we're going to. A lot of victories that have been secured, some of them are partial, some of them in ways that the other side doesn't yet know are foundations for what's coming. And that's just the beginning. And we're not going to tell you everything that's coming, because for the first time that I'm aware of, the conservative movement, or as I really like to put it, the common sense movement in the United States, has really nothing to do with ideology, is ready to fight. I told you.
Okay. Now, they got plans in place. They're already winning. They're going to win. They know they're going to win, according to Kevin Roberts. Trump has said both Christians get out and vote. You'll never have to vote again. And he said on Fox News, Fox and Friends, not Fox News, Fox and Friends, Fox in the Morning, that he's got enough votes. He doesn't need votes. He doesn't need votes. These things we should pay attention to. And oh yeah, and J.D. Vance also attacked beloved Jennifer Aniston, star of Friends, and childless, not by choice. And she wrote a very nice thing saying, that she hoped his daughter didn't have to, was able to have children naturally, because IVF would not be an option for his daughter. And she didn't think that was fair to keep anyone from being a mother. and JD Vance came back at her pretty hard. And that just, he just keeps honking people off. The Swifties, he's made a comment about Taylor Swift's fans. So all right, how would they do it? If and it's not going to be MAGA. MAGA is not going to steal the election. MAGA is distraction. MAGA may get involved in stopping some people from voting and impacting the election. I don't know if they go that far. We'll find out. But the people like Roberts, like Roger Stone, Peter Navarro, those kind of people, here's the plan. States, Secretary of States, specifically, they'd like to have it nationally, but specifically in those swing states, do not certify the state elections. They'd like to have no certification of any election in any of the states. But specifically in the swing states, and you might say, okay, because of the electors. No, because if the Secretary of States, if they do not certify the elections, there are no election results. Okay? There are no election results. You can't have electors. If you can't have electors, the only alternative, according to the Constitution, is the Congress votes, the House of Representatives, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so, well, Democrats are going to sweep the House and sweep the Senate. It doesn't matter if the elections aren't certified. And even if they are certified, if Speaker Mike Johnson says nobody is getting sworn in because some of the states aren't certified. If even some of the states aren't certified, nobody's getting sworn in. The new president will be determined by the current Congress, which of course is Republican by a slight majority. And it would come down to each state would have one vote. So all of the Congress people from each state would have to get together. They would have to vote and decide what their state was going to vote. And the first candidate to 26 wins. That's how easy it could all get stolen if we're not aware of it and if we're not talking about it. Because if they do that, that's not democracy. It's not democracy. And I'd like to see America stay a democracy. As imperfect and not up to potential, not living up to promise, but still the most democratic country in the world, still the freest country in the world, probably. I'd like to keep it that way. Hope you do too. I'll be back really soon. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for clicking on. I went a little longer than I intended to go, but there was a lot of stuff tonight, a lot of stuff to think about. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And again, I appreciate you watching. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe. Love you all like chocolate chip cookies. Blessings be upon you. Just giving you things to think about. It's a dark world. Do try to be a light. God bless each and every one of you that so desire, and may God have mercy on the United States of America. I mean that.